Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Politdigm Podcast. My name is Red, and I'm joined by my co-host Alpha.
I am alive.
And today is the 5th of December, 2023. And
Why the year?
I don't know, because we're coming to the end of the year, so it's like in beginning of January you have to say the year, and then by December you have to say the year again. I don't know.
You do know that they can see the date at which time
Alpha,
this was
Alpha,
published.
Alpha. I know where you live. So
Okay.
yesterday, a blog came out, as always happens every Monday, and it was Alpha's turn this week, and he kind of did a bit of a to be continued of what we did last week, and so that was interesting. But before we do get into the episode, we of course have to do our mandatory little bit of a plug. So if you
Shameless plug.
Yeah. So if you, of course, like our content and wish to support us, make sure to support us over on Patreon. Um, if you do that and you join our public Discord, which of course you can join with or without a Patreon subscription, you'll get access to a special little channel where you can submit questions for our podcast Q&A, which we will answer. The questions we'll answer at the end of each episode. Um, with that being said, I would like to apologize for Alpha's awful
Uh,
behavior last week. No, I'm joking.
yeah.
But for those who are like, okay, what happened last week? Why does it sound like the beginning of the podcast was cut off? It wasn't. It's just that, like Alpha said, we were extremely tired, and he cut me off, and I didn't even realize I didn't do the fucking intro of the episode until like 5 days later. I was like, oh god, what the fuck? What is this shit? What's going on? So
I am not sorry. I was dying that day.
So yeah, that happened. Regardless, Alpha, if you want to take the stage.
Yeah, so as my lovely co-host introduced, um, yeah, a new blog, everyone.
A new vlogger, Blog Two.
to 2022. No, that's the wrong one. So, I'm not gonna lie. This one was a bit of a baller. I wrote it in I think 5 hours, and it was from the heart. Um, I have to thank my school time
I have to
because
thank my
it's
family. I'd like to thank the academy for this opportunity.
no, but in all seriousness, it's because this is a topic that I have dealt in while at school. I've made two presentations on some of the topics that I approached in this blog, especially the internet and the one looking at how dictatorships and extremisms like to keep the population um, well ignorant. I think it's the best way to put it.
Yep.
So I wasn't going to this raw like the other two blogs that I wrote, which I still think are not my finest work. I'm still kind of sad about those. It could have been so much better.
Yeah, but
But
it is.
yeah,
It is. I mean, we could always
yeah, it is.
revisit them in the future, make them better.
Yeah, yeah, in a couple of years maybe. So this week's blog was about how right wing politics and right wing media favors and tries to install mm, ignorance and misinformation into a population. Before we delve into this, there is something that has never left my mind when I started learning politics, which is this idea that both sides think that they are absolutely right, which is fucked. Because if you do that, you never have a mind open enough to start a conversation. That is why I'm always trying to talk to people, and I try to be open to media from both sides. And the one thing throughout all these years that has kept me in check of being like, how do I know that my beliefs are the ones that I think are more morally correct? It's because whenever I look at the beliefs of the opposite side when it comes to the political spectrum, and I see their justifications for them, I think, oh, these guys don't have a fucking clue. Think, for example, flat Earth versus round Earth type of deal.
Yeah, which is basically just. I mean, at that point, I don't
Like,
even know where.
how do you know the Earth isn't flat? Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 seconds. Tell me what you think. Okay, so we live on the back of a giant turtle. Excuse me, what the fuck?
Yeah, or like no, maybe there's been like 500 years plus of fucking like at least if you're not even gonna go back into
And
like
I'm
the
actually,
Greeks and
yeah,
like
yeah, the Greek.
if you ignore those, if you even just think about like after that, like at least the last 500 years, there's been many of people who have proved over and over again that the Earth is a sphere. So
Small tangent. Do you know when the movement, which defended the Earth is flat, started?
I don't know, maybe during like I don't know, like one of the many opioid crises. I don't know.
Funnily enough, that's not too far fetched. So we're talking 19th century. Science is evolving, and it has arrived at this state where more and more theories that are being well theorized
Yeah.
need to use specific tools and calculations which aren't as open as go outside, look at plants, draw a plant. And so there was this guy that said we need to go back to using observation as our first means of acquiring scientific knowledge, which is, if you know anything about philosophy, fucking stupid.
Or
Uh,
the scientific method is fucking stupid.
yeah, there is a whole field about
Like
the
the
scientific
scientific,
method.
like the scientific method, the observation of something is like literally step one, and then after that, there's like a bunch of others. So it's like kind of being like, yeah, that's the only thing you should do. Is like, bro, what are you
I will
doing?
not get into this with you. That is not entirely correct,
No,
but
but there is a part
never
which is
mind.
like basically like look at the thing, observe it, question yourself if this is right, and then go prove it with facts
Yeah.
and science. That's what I'm
So
trying to
this
say.
guy basically thought, yeah, we gotta go back to where we just look at things and take them from face value. And
Go
so
back. I
he
want to be
made,
monkey.
the Rife experiment, the raft one, where he just put two rafts on a canal and to
Sounds
see if
very
it,
scientific.
yeah, he put two rafts on a big old canal that were miles apart with some little poles, and then he checked to see if the poles were at the same height through a hole in a piece of plank, and they were. And he thought, okay, the Earth is flat, which by doing that, he just completely ignored years and years of studying of the light spectrum and how light behaves itself around the Earth. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was all for just that little tangent. So going back into the thing that we love to shit talk about the most, rightfully so, fascists. Uh,
And the liberal media,
yeah, that too, and conservatives in general.
which to us
Whenever
is all the same people. What?
I think we should actually discuss a little bit of our situation in Portugal, because it has started to
Get worse.
get extremely out of hand, and I think is a great field study example that we can give. So a couple of years back, more than a couple of years, a few years back now, a new party was formed in the parliament, and it was extreme right wing party. It's the most extreme right wing party that we have. It's called Chega, which is basically an acronym for. It basically means enough, and it's all in all caps. Um, and they are dicks.
They are the worst.
Yeah, the main guy, André Ventura, is okay. Small background check. He was part of an organization. I don't know at which capacity. I don't know if it was in a seminar or if it was taught at a school, which was owned by this organization called Opus Dei, which is extremely fucking religious and conservative. We are talking having married couples give fucking papers and uh, hearings and teachings on how to not have sex before marriage.
Wonderful.
I read the transcript of the speech that the guys
Jesus
gave
Christ.
to the students, and he was like, "Yeah, sometimes we had to go around the block for a walk in order to not fall into temptation." And I was just thinking, my God, what the hell?
Why are you so
Uh,
horny? Like,
yeah. So our this motherfucker is probably the most rude voice of
politics?
no, not voice of politics, like a party, the voice
Oh,
of a
yeah.
party that we have ever encountered. We are talking fallacies all the time, especially when it comes to offending our prime minister,
Or
which I,
or
I get
or or literally
temptation.
having been
Holy
like
fuck.
literally having been sued for defamation by a family because of how much he was slandering them. Where the family was like, you know what, fuck you, and he's like, oh shit, wait, what? You can do that? You
Yeah,
can
and we're
like,
also talking about a party which was allegedly uh, illegally formed. We're talking faking signatures and stuff. Another big important thing about this party is that there is a very big group of army and police enforcement personnel which have private and Facebook and other social media accounts and groups which where they basically serve as the armed arm
what?
of this party. We're talking
Oh, yeah, I got it. Holy shit, wait,
yeah.
what? Really? What the fuck?
Okay,
Did not know about
so
this.
there was a small documentary, not even documentary. What's the right name?
Uh,
Reportage?
news report,
Yeah,
news
report. News
investigation,
report.
news
Yeah.
something.
There was a news investigation slash report which was done by this Chad journalist where he managed to infiltrate some of these groups. And some of the things that they were saying were absolutely horrendous. Um, and this gets me to the first point, which is the internet. Now, I love the internet. I'm using it right now to speak on a public podcast, which is found on a public app, which has billions of users. However, I have a lot of gripes with the internet because of what it can be used to do. And one of the many things that it can be used for is to generate hate. As we saw on our article and podcast about the incel community, one of the biggest problems that you encounter with the internet is whenever a closed group starts shooting off ideas, and the ideas are contained in this vacuum in
Yeah.
a group where these people will share this common ideology, and it has no outside intervention to deflate it if it gets too big or too extreme. Just snowballs of each people's thoughts and emotions. So, whenever you reach politics, the exact same thing can happen. You can have social media groups that are completely closed off, and the ideas and notions that are passed within the group have no way of escaping to the outside. It's contained. And so these things just keep pinging off each other. I can give you a more practical example, more personal example. I was invited to a social media group where a couple of my friends were. It was boys only, etc. And
Oh god.
the first thing that was posted was something along the lines of these clowns get an entire month insert video of Pride Parade, while these heroes only get a date insert image of the Red Army marching. Yeah, and I was just thinking, I just got here, what the fuck? And they were all like, yeah, sad reality and shit. And I was just thinking, aight, so this is the shit that gets posted here. And because this isn't discussed anywhere else but here, in the safety of this group, it just keeps escalating.
Yeah.
I left immediately after that, by the way. I was on that group for like 10 minutes. Um, Besides, the internet has another big old fucking problem. I think you might know it, right? Algorithms. Who would have thunk?
Yeah.
So, one of the main common differences between people from certain political parties is the shit that gets fed to them online. Basically, whenever you use a platform, it has an algorithm that tracks your tastes, and as such, it provides you with content which falls under the lines of what you just consumed.
Yeah, and the issue is that the way that it works is means that it tries to engage you the more and more as like they're trying to engage you as much as possible. So they'll consistently feed you slightly more. Um, I wouldn't say extreme, but it's also it would be a correct term.
It
Consistently
goes down the
more
rabbit hole. It starts light and just goes into
shocking content that will make you go, "Whoa, really? Is this true?" Content that will
yeah.
make you like will push you in, will clickbait you into getting this stuff. So there's a bit of like you said, like it's a bit of a like a snowball effect where it gets
Yeah,
progressively
that's
worse.
exactly
So
what I
the
wanted
more,
to say. It's a whole thing with these groups, but it's just in a personal level on what you consume in terms of the platform.
yeah,
I had an
it's
example. I was looking at one of our podcasts, and the first recommendation that I had was a podcast where two guys were sitting on a couch with microphones and the Nokia camera pointing at them. When I mean Nokia, like extremely low quality, like
yeah
potato
40
quality.
1440 like 144p or whatever the
Yeah,
fuck it's
yeah,
called.
yeah, yeah. That. And the title was "How to Win the War on Lust."
Oh boy.
That was the first thing that got recommended to me.
I know a way we could do that. A knife right to the genitals. What
Okay.
would solve the problem?
Yeah. So that is a big old problem. Other
Yeah.
problem. It is so hard to know what truth has fucking died. There is when it comes to the internet, there isn't truth. There is what I think and what is wrong.
Yeah.
If you go on Twitter, you will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh
And I
boy.
imagine what that kind of mentality, the damages that can do when it comes to divulging information.
And you don't use Twitter, and you have that opinion.
I don't use Twitter for a
And
fucking reason.
it's funny because like I use Twitter a lot. I use Twitter every day, for like just purely just getting my news and basically just
And doom
making
scrolling.
making fun of dumb people. Not really. I don't make fun, but I do see funny posts making fun of them. And it's funny because like what you were just saying a couple of weeks ago, me and my class we had a debate, right? And basically the debate was
Oh no.
about we have sociology class, and so we were talking about different societal aspects, and we had many topics. I wasn't there wasn't like one theme, but generally speaking, it had to do with women's rights and queer rights, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And at some
Meaning
point,
people's rights.
I don't know how we got there, but at some point there was a question where one of my classmates who had even prepared fucking notes for this debate, which nobody else did. That's how fucking insane he is. Where he was literally got like a
I mean,
bunch of
having notes can be good.
what? No, but this is different. This is like that one right wing kid who's like, yeah, here's a bunch of videos of like
Yes,
murder.
Patrick Bateman is my hero.
And so he had like these videos of like a bunch of people in Berlin howling and like barking and shit, being like, yeah, these are a bunch of trans people who think they're dogs and want to like they want rights for trans animal people or whatever the fuck he said. And
Furries.
I was like, okay, first of all, those are those are not trans people. And since we're having a debate about queer people and the LGBTQ community, it is important to note that those people are by default not part of the LGBTQ community. They might be part of it, but they don't have to. If you identify as an animal, it's not related to that. Different thing, right? And then he all of a sudden, after I explained this whole thing in much more detail than I just did, he had the amazing and said something that I loved so much, which was, "Oh, I saw this on Twitter, so I thought it was real." And I was like, "You."
Oh
So I said,
no.
"Yeah, but like Twitter is like the worst possible way of getting this type of information. And before you see something on Twitter, believe it's true, and then do an entire oral presentation, which he had done the week before, about how there is people who think they're animals and that they represent the entire LGBT community, especially that they represent trans people. And so basically, what you're doing is you saw something on Twitter, you then didn't even try to see if that's true. You then did an entire oral presentation, which supposedly you had to do research for, but yet you still refused to do research and actually check if that was true. All in favor of, oh, I think trans people are weird. I think this is weird, and therefore it must be true. And
It's
then
because
just along
it
with it,
just goes right into that idea of, oh, this is in line with my beliefs. As
yeah,
such, I am way more likely to be less skeptical of what was just presented to me. This has happened with me a lot too. That is why I proceeded to completely change the way that I do research and try to investigate a lot more. I remember we were talking about Fent.
fentanyl.
Yeah, yeah, and I was talking about it with my grandmother, and she was like, "Yeah, it's like 50 times more potent than cocaine, and 2 milligrams can kill you." And I just thought, "Wait, what the fuck? 2 milligrams?" So I kept doing research, and even though I had a predisposition to not believe what I just saw, instead of just planting my foot down and saying, no, this is not how it happens, I went to do my research. It came out unconclusive. I still have no fucking clue about it.
Yeah,
But I didn't pick one side without the correct information. I just looked at what I had and said, I don't have enough to know about this. As such, I will not have a formed opinion,
I mean, yeah, then
which I
that's
think is the most
the best thing you
normal
can
thing
do.
to
Like,
do.
yeah, like if you don't know about a certain topic, if the research you find is like almost contradictive, not only of what you believe, but like contradicting itself sometimes. Like some researchers contradict others, and you're like, all right, what the
Yeah,
fuck
yeah,
is true then? And then the issue is, which is like, which in that specific case, when it comes to fentanyl, is that like, for example, when it comes to the American media, like they try to portray such an image of fentanyl, which
But
then
you
when
have
you
any fucking clue what 2 milligrams is?
which then if you start
Two
comparing it
milligrams.
to which then you start comparing it to research which both says that it is extremely dangerous or like yeah it's just another medical drug which just like opioids which which can be used to make heroin but it can also be used to like have regular ass medicine.
Anesthesia.
If it's too much it's like it's deadly and it's like yeah but that's like every other drug. If it's too much it's deadly like you can like
Fuck
you
it. If
like
you drink too much
or
water,
you
you
can
die.
die. So it's like, all right, so what is it? And to be honest, I'm like me and Alpha here are not making any specific comments on fentanyl because I also don't know enough about it to actually comment on it.
Yeah, I was going to
But
write a blog about it, and I did 3 days of research, and
yeah,
I
and I think
almost
I think at some
cried
point
my
like you went
brain.
to talk to me, you're like, I am fucking losing my mind. I don't know what the fuck is happening, and I was like, all right, chill, choose another topic
I was
for the blog.
cross-checking like company CEOs
Yeah,
with public statements. I respect
homie got on a
journalists
CIA
so
watch
much
list just to
more
fucking for the
after
Politdigm
that.
blog. Holy shit.
Like I repeat, I respect journalists so much more after that day.
Yeah, a whole lot
Yeah,
of pain
yeah.
in the ass
No, a whole lot
to do
of
that.
pain. Period.
Yeah.
But yes, and also we live in a day where if you don't have an opinion, you're a centrist and you deserve to die. Which it's not correct because doesn't mean you're a centrist.
Yeah.
Uh, not
What
the other
makes you as a
part.
centrist is knowing and still choosing not to take a stance.
Yeah, you need to have a formed opinion, which is it's. There are a lot of times we're saying I don't know. I rather not form a bias and just plant my feet down than keep talking about it. Or even those times where people are just saying, yeah, I know I'm wrong, but fuck you.
Yeah, but fuck you. I don't like you.
Yeah, and this is splayed out for millions to see. Once again, we have generations of people who look at content creators that don't know dick about what they're talking about and just form ideas. Remember that video with the kids approaching Sneeko?
Oh, I hate that video so much. I mean, I hate
Yeah,
Sneeko with a passion.
in case you
So,
don't know,
oh god.
Sneeko is a cunt. He's a cuck, quite literally. He admitted that he liked cuckery, and
Yeah.
he was approached by a bunch of kids in a convention, I think, and they were asking like, "Can I take pictures with you?" and etc. And after they take pictures with him, one of them just goes, "Fuck the woman! Fuck the woman! Fuck the woman!" And he
Yeah,
was like,
fuck the women, like saying like
Sorry,
over
what?
and over
What
again,
are you
like
saying? No, don't fuck the woman." And the kid was like, "Oh, but fuck the gays and the trans, right?"
yeah.
And I was just there thinking, "Oh my god,
And, and the worst part about
this
that video is that
dumbass."
even Sneeko himself looks completely like, holy shit, what the fuck
Yeah,
have I created? And the worst part about that is like, if he had have used that moment of like, damn, maybe I've not done good, but no, like a couple days later on Twitter, he doubled down
yeah.
on it, and
You
I'm like,
saw that
god
clip where
damn it,
I Show Speed was with, I think it was Aiden Ross, and he was like, "Yo, free Palestinians," and Ross was just like, "Yeah," and don't say that. And Aisha was like,
why?
"Yo, why aren't you like stuck or whatever?"
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I show speed is a bit of a dumbass, but like there he does
Yeah,
have his like random moments of clarity where he
yeah,
seems sane, and in that moment I was like, wow, this really shows that even a guy as dumb as I show speed can understand something like the Palestine Israel situation, and a guy who
yeah.
allegedly has much more, I don't know, prevalence or whatever the fuck, I don't even know.
Research air quotes.
Like is that a guy who consistently talks about these controversial topics and tries to be edgy and cool doesn't want to talk about Palestine or wants to support Palestine because that's bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this
It's
a
like
small example. Would you rather have someone that is professional when it comes to teaching, give an education to your kids, or a random guy with a charisma that might or might not know anything of whatever he talks about?
yeah, I'd rather be somebody who probably spent their like I don't know
Better part of
for
their life
like
studying.
a better part of their like 20s probably studying about a certain topic that they're teaching every day. That person.
And even then, you need to be careful with all
Yeah,
people
because
say. The most important thing when it comes to the device, when it comes to researching online, is have multiple sources. I'm gonna give a great example, which is fucking nerdy, but bear with me. So I read a book about a brief introduction into Norse mythology, and there was a section about the nine realms. You know about the nine realms in Norse mythology, right?
Alpha, I have better shit to
Oh,
do.
I think you've at least heard of the concept of the nine realms.
I've heard of the Nine Realms, but I have no clue what the hell they are.
Okay, you don't need to know. You saw Marvel, right? You
Yeah.
got like Asgard
Oh,
and
those
stuff. Yeah,
Midgard, which is Earth,
Helheim,
I
things like
think.
that.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was reading a chapter about the formation of Midgard, which is supposedly the
Earth.
realm of the humans,
You.
not North, just realm. It's a bit complicated. They're on a tree. Don't worry.
Alpha, please.
And there was a small quotation mark, which says, "This is what was quoted. We don't actually know." And I just thought, what? What the fuck? And I went on a entire week bender to find out that the nine realms of Norse mythology are the most infuriating aspect of Norse mythology in general, and whole academic fields are designed to study them because guess what, fuck nuts? We don't even know if they're nine.
Yeah. If
That's
only.
just
If
that's
only
just a
if.
small example. I read on a source that there were nine realms. I grew up thinking, oh, it's the nine realms. When I talked to people about Norse mythology,
It's the Nine
because I was
Realms.
that kind of fucking child, it was the nine realms. And then I read that and I was like, it's not the nine realms.
My childhood is a lie.
Basically, I felt so incompetent.
My life is a
Uh,
lie. I want to die.
Another example was, I fucking love this one. It was, I think it was in sixth grade, and I was hearing the term Lucifer for the first time, and I was like, okay, no fucking clue what Christianity is. Who the fuck is this guy? So I went to search on a video, and all of a sudden, the guy just drops a bombshell of, yeah, the idea of Lucifer has inspired so many other deities in other mythologies, like Apollo in Greek mythology. And I literally did a a double take to my phone, thinking, "Wait, what the fuck?" And I just reference like dates, and I was just thinking, Apollo first mentioned 700s BC before Christ.
Yeah.
Lucifer, Christ.
Yeah, definitely after Christ, most likely. Like,
So
those numbers ain't
it
adding up.
is like that is the most prevailing issue. You give we are giving a platform to everyone, which we ourselves are benefiting. However, we try and present the sources that we use to do our research,
Yeah, not only
and still,
we've made like the whole aspect, which is again, I've said this before, it's on our website. Like we've literally made it clear that like if we make a mistake, we will own up to it. We want to
yes,
talk about it. If we make a massive oopsie and like
we made a
misquote,
severe
or
lack of judgment.
if there's something that we misquote or something that we research and that we were wrong and that we can check that we were wrong, we will make an entire article on it, like deep diving in what we did wrong and
Yes,
making up to it. That is what we'll do because that's part of it. But there's a whole subsection of the internet which does not give a shit
fuck
because
the subsection. A whole majority.
they like the issue is that what has happened during these articles, and maybe Alpha can attest to this, which is that I going into an article, I have a certain idea about something, and to be fair, since fortunately I am like educated and quite well, and I've had that fortune in my life, and I'm got a lot of privilege in that sense. Which is that I'll go into a topic and I'll have a certain idea behind it, and a lot of times I'm proven correct about my idea behind that article or behind that
And
concept.
sometimes we are proven fucking
But
wrong.
sometimes I'll be researching and I'll be like, wait, what? This is not. Oh shit. Okay, so I was wrong. Okay, fair enough. I was wrong. And then I go
Yeah,
research it and then I look into it and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I did not know how this thing worked.
I
And
can give you a very recent example. The blog that I wrote about the native tribes of the United States of America, where I did not know a fraction of what happened.
yeah,
I felt destroyed
yeah.
after contemplating how much I didn't know.
After contemplating the end of my life,
Yeah, that too. But that
but
was after the math test.
and the issue, damn it, the issue of which is a lot of which going back into the main topic of the blog, uh, is that, for example, in our case, we clearly have a ideology. We have an ideology which is ever growing and evolving. And we make this very clear with something that we show, we consistently talk about it, and it's part of our brand is this idea that not only are we doing this because we want others to learn, but we ourselves are doing this so that we can learn. And in the way, we want to create a bit of a movement, right? We want to bring people
Yeah,
together. We want to create a community, and with that community, we hope to make the world better. That is our idea. When
yeah.
it comes to more right wing people, they have a whole different.
God and country, baby. I know it because Jesus told me.
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's like, first of all, they are like, we have this hatred towards these people. We see an issue in the world, and that issue must be explained by something.
I'm
And
gonna be honest. I'm gonna be a bit of a advocate of the devil right here. There is not a good example because we also have some hate towards some people on the opposition, capitalists, and the 1%. Uh, the issue is that we can back it up.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Is like
It's the fucking
that's
difference.
that was what I was trying to
The
get at. Is
difference
like
is that we are right. I'm so sorry.
fascist ideologies have their whole concept, which then we can bring back to Hitler. We can bring back
I'm
for
gonna do a
example,
blog about fascism.
we can, for example, go into André
Mussolini,
Ventura, our little homebrew
little piss
fascist,
boy.
and their whole concept is there's something wrong with our country, and it must be the issue must be those who do not belong to our nation.
And that is a great fucking segue. You know why? Because the next topic of my blog was a culture of fear.
Yeah, fear monger.
How do you convince a population that something needs to be fucking changed? You say, hey, you, aren't you fucking pissed? Aren't you mad at what's happening currently with your life? Yeah, I know you are. You know who's to blame? Those guys. Go at them.
Yeah.
There
If
is
you're an American,
no
if you're an
easier.
American, it's either the Hispanics, right? So Latinos, like Latin
It doesn't have
Americans,
to be. It doesn't have to be
or it's
so
black
so.
people, or if you were a German during the late 30s or the early 40s, it was the Jewish people. If you live in Europe, it's currently Islamic people.
Yeah,
If you live in Asia, it's probably Americans.
rightfully. Sorry.
Well, if you're mostly in China, probably not so much in Japan, but that's because they're
I
basically
mean,
just
Japan's are some
puppets
of
of
the
the
ones that
U.S.
have.
So
Yeah,
it is what it is. And then if you go, for example, to Israel, it's the Palestinians. Yeah, it's
you don't
it's
have to go into specifics. The idea
God
is
damn
just
it.
them,
Yeah, it's them, not us.
them, the others. It's those barbaric people across the other river
Yeah,
who might look a little bit different and behave a little bit different, but are
or believe something a little
savages.
bit different, or fuck knows, or were
Fuck
born
a little bit.
slightly different. Um, it's it's always
I
that is to
there
me
is
that's like one of the fundamental aspects of fascism is like the idea that it's the fault of, first of all, fascism is like is created upon nationalist ideas. That's something that
yeah,
needs to be clear, and
which also has
that
a lot
also
of its
works,
flaws.
and that also works vice versa, because not only are you a nationalist, now you also are you're gonna, like, you're gonna essentially create this fictitious nation in your mind of the people that you hate, right? Like you're gonna, like, kind of the idea of like what's the term, which is something like the Americans are doing a lot now with this idea of like, oh, you hate Israel, therefore you must hate Jews. Like this idea of
Yeah,
like
the trauma and fallacy.
it's like the idea of like shit, I'm forgetting the term, like bringing one, like an entire ethnic group or entire religious community, or this entire, like this huge
Stereotype,
yeah, sure, I could, like this, I mean, in the stereotype, not the stereotype, I mean, like taking
generalizations.
take it, yeah, it's like a generalization, but like to insane degree, right? Like this idea of like, oh, which is basically, I mean, this has happened a lot in the past, which is like, oh yeah, like, sorry, for example, in the U.S., like, oh yeah, like we have suddenly one black criminal, and yeah, that shows us that every black person is a criminal. It's like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? How is that the
I
conclusion
personally
you come to?
experienced. I have a friend which looked at me and said, "I'm not misogynistic, but women drive worse than men." And I just looked at him and said, "What
Well,
the fuck are you
actually,
on about?"
well, actually,
And
statistically
yeah, it's the
speaking,
opposite.
women drive way better than men.
And he said, "It's because I got ran over twice. It was by women both times." And I was just looking at him saying,
If you consider that you're the
"And what if
problem,
I got assaulted by two times and it were black people?" He's black, by the way. And he just looked at me and said, "Yeah, but I'm the one who's right."
it's like, bro, I mean, maybe you're the one who doesn't know how to fucking walk on the street.
Yeah,
If you've been able to
you are
get
the
driven
common
over
denominator.
twice in like so many years, what the fuck? How even?
I was only ran over once, and it was on purpose.
I've never been.
Uh,
What the hell? What? How?
yeah, like my
This,
old school was fucked up.
all right, that's depressing. But yeah, moving on. Go
Yeah, it's
back to fascism,
culture.
which is
Yeah,
definitely
culture
not
of
less
fear.
depressive.
Let's keep on the fucking topic. What I meant to say is when you convince a population that a certain group is to blame for their woes and their tragedies in life, and that you must fear and hate them, it is a lot easier to perceive to control that population because now you have a common enemy. It's when you look at fuck. Let me try find a good example that isn't you know Nazis because Nazis. Okay, let's go communism. In the United States of America during the Cold War, everyone was taught to fear the Reds.
Yeah.
Now you go to a fucking parade of Trump supporters and start feeding them communist ideologies under the guise that those are the ideologies that
Of
defeat communism, and they will agree. I have seen so many videos of conservatives agreeing to far left ideologies who are disguised as extremely far right.
Yeah, and as like massively nationalist ideas, like this idea of like,
Yeah, like
yeah, like
yeah,
to
let's
save our country, to save
destroy
the,
communism. We gotta defeat the banks. Yeah, we don't gotta use money. You're right. I can trade in goods, and I was just thinking, my
and we
fucking god,
need to
really?
end big pharma. We need to do this, and it's like, boy, you are a massive communist. What are you doing? Like, you just turned you went from Republican to communist in like a second. What just
Yeah.
happened? And it's funny because like, fundamentally speaking, unless you're like unless you're like a liberal CEO piece of shit who's been so depraved of human touch and any human decency. Ninety
Courtesy
percent of
first.
people, if you present to them communist ideals in the right terms, they will agree to it.
Okay, John Lennon.
Wait,
Imagine,
what? How do we get to John Lennon?
imagine the song. Imagine. Just think about the lyrics. Think about how popular it is.
I know nothing about the Beatles. I would like to let this be known.
You never heard "Imagine" by John Lennon?
I don't like the Beatles. I think the Beatles
This is
are
so sad. Okay,
overrated.
let me read it. Let me read you some of the top lines.
Don't kill me.
No, I literally learned how to play this in the piano.
Seems like a you problem, Alf.
No, it's a you problem. You like culture. Okay, so this is some of the lyrics. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of men. And the chorus keeps repeating. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, yeah.
You recognize these ideas.
I mean, just today when you
And
know,
now, if you allow me
sorry.
to continue this bullshittery, if you go into YouTube and just put imagine the amount of views that this song has, it is over, it's almost 300 million.
No,
It is extremely popular.
that's almost as much
And
as
this
the
is just
Politdigm
on
Podcast.
YouTube. This was played by the fucking Beatles. Imagine how many times this song was played on a like a vintage disco.
Vinyl?
Yes, a vinyl.
A vintage disco. Did you really just say that,
Shut the
Alpha?
fuck up.
Jesus Christ.
It's this idea that because people fear something, they close themselves off to ideas that in other scenarios they might completely agree on, which leads us to our final and most important point of this, and the whole reason why I wanted to write this article. Why far right extremisms and right wing ideologies favor ignorance.
Which we have covered on a different blog, by the way.
Yes,
If you
I
want to
know
look,
we have,
if you want to look more
but
in
I'm
depth,
really passionate about this.
if
I have a small treasure in my house. So, in Portugal, before 1974, 25th of April 1974, we were living under a dictatorship. A really bad dictatorship. We even had our own secret police. That's why Portugal was never involved in World War II, is because Hitler looked at us and said, "You're cool."
you're cool, I like you.
Had it.
Here's a couple paintings.
Yeah. We had it on, what was the slogan? God, country, and
And
family.
yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
God.
And one of the main things that happened was the censorship of books. Like, illiteracy was at like 80% of the population couldn't read or write. The only mandatory education that you had was until fourth grade. After
Or
that, most people work.
wasn't like military education also mandatory?
All yeah, compulsory.
Yeah.
You had to go fight in colonial wars. It was horrible,
Or just
and
being an
books were
oppressive piece of
censored.
shit.
Yeah, books were censored by the secret police, and they were censored with a blue pencil, which would write at the beginning of the book the reason as to why the book was censored. I happen to have one of those censored books in my house because my grandparents were a baller, and I read the censored bits, and I read the book, and what the fuck? The book is about the life of a farmer, basically, in a place where you give the middle finger to a dictatorship. And so the book was censored because it was anti establishment and pornographic. That was the excuse. We have a very big poet, Luís de Camões, who wrote Lusíadas, which basically is a magnum opus of our collective literary history.
And the
And
biggest pain in the
specifically,
ass in every Portuguese student that
my
has ever
God,
lived.
and the whole section of his works, The Island of Loves, if I think that's the correct translation, was cut out from the education program in times of dictatorship because it was too shocking for children.
Oh, if only it was fully cut out now, I would be such a happier person. God, I hate.
Don't be a dick. It's
No,
not that bad.
it was such a
Oh my
pain in
god.
this. Everybody hates that book with a passion. It is so annoying, and the man was spitting such gibberish.
I mean, the man was so depressed.
I mean, yeah, and probably crazed or some shit.
Yeah.
So
So
what a bunch of I don't know
let's go back to
shit would they do?
blissful ignorance.
Yeah,
If someone doesn't know the wiser, they are easier to control. If you don't give someone the full, straight facts about a scenario or situation, you can push towards them the narrative which is more beneficial to you. And if you then take away the possibility of these people, for these people to learn
yeah.
about their
To
current
educate
predicament,
themselves
yeah, to educate them, they will never know
any better.
truly what is happening.
Yeah,
Imagine that it's oh my god, you are stuck on an island, but your whole life you were stuck on an island, and there is a plane that passes by you, which gives you snippets of information, which basically say, "Yo, you are the king of this island. This is your rightful land, and there is nothing better outside, and you are the most advanced person in the world." You might wonder what the fuck's going on outside the worlds, but you will never have the possibility to be able to truly see what lives outside of your island. Now, if someone builds a bridge between you and the mainland, you will suddenly have access to a world of information which was denied to you from the start. But because you don't have that access, the narrative that is created by the sole source of information that you have is the only information that you can learn from. Imagine if the only book you ever read was a science fiction book, or the only movie that you ever saw was Star Wars or Blade Runner, and you never had contact with anyone else besides someone who tells you that these films or books are a one-to-one representation of reality outside of your bubble. How would you tell them that that's not the case? You don't know.
unfortunately, Blade Runner is a little too real.
I haven't seen it yet.
God, Blade Runner. I mean, the whole point of the Blade Runner itself, what a Blade Runner is, and the whole
Don't spoil
duplicates this shit is obviously not real, but the whole cyberpunk dystopia shit, yeah, that's
it.
life.
Cyberpunk
That's
2077.
that's 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 what that's yeah. Like there's ads everywhere. People live in misery. I'd say that's pretty
I want to have a
accurate.
prosthetic jump. I want to be able to jump twice as high as I can right now.
What? That's why stop. You need to stop with the obscure, like references of cyberpunk that only I will get.
But you will get them.
I know, but nobody else will, and just they'll think you're
I want to
crazy,
have
and
a
people already
flying
think you're
car.
crazy. Don't make it
I want
worse
to
off.
have a flying car. That's general enough for you, dick.
That's it's not even inside. All right, but
It
yeah,
is. It is.
yeah, but I get what you mean. It's like if, and that's I was gonna make a joke, but then you kind of
Like
ruined the
the
moment for
cave,
me. But
Plato's cave.
yeah, and it's like I was gonna
Literally, I forgot about that. Holy shit!
when you did the censor when you talked about censorship, I was gonna make a joke. I was gonna say, yeah, just like Nazi Florida. I mean, Nazi Germany, uh, because like what is happening right now
No,
in
they're
Florida
completely
with
different. Florida is nothing to see.
what?
They were nothing alike. Florida is hot.
Yeah, that's it. But
It
yeah,
has
like what's
crocodile.
happening? Like what's happening right now is like Ron DeSantis,
Oh my god, I fucking hate that man.
little Rhonda. Uh, he basically is a
Fucking
like
insane.
neo-fascist. Like he is a fucking
Piece
neo-Nazi
of
at its
shit.
finest. He literally somehow has managed more than once to retweet neo-Nazi stuff on Twitter, and then goes, "Uh oh, I'm gonna pretend I didn't do that." And basically his go-to technique right now is exactly what Alpha just described. Is oh, we have this issue. For example, oh, we think that queer people are perverse and that they are, you know, like abominations. We must get rid of them. And any book that talks about them, any book that is about educating people about queer people, so that they can possibly create any fucking what's the word?
Yeah, self-formed idea belief.
Yeah, or not just that, or like any empathy towards a queer person. Let's censor every book that is
Yeah.
out there about queer people. And in the last
Animations
year,
that
they have
illustrate
censored so many
white
fucking
people.
books that it's insane. How many books they have censored about queer people and other topics that they simply don't agree with. And censoring books is one of like the pillars, one of fascism's
Ever
favorite
heard of book
things to
burning?
do. What?
Ever heard of this thing called book burning that was real
Yeah.
popular with these certain fellas?
Yeah, book burning was like the Nazis' like favorite pastime. They'll be like, "Yeah, let's like gather every book that we don't agree with, and let's start burning the shit out of them." And in fact, like staying into the in the topic
These
of
animations that they were providing for the school systems.
yeah, and like staying in topic with queer people, like before Nazi Germany, there was a bunch of like German and other in Europe a lot of research, scientific research on trans people, for example. And because of World War II and this insane, like, I mean, like, obviously, the main thing that people talk about when it comes to Nazi Germany is that they, of course, targeted the Jewish people, but those are not the only people that they targeted. They targeted
Yeah, they
anybody who
targeted
had
the queer.
disabilities, or if you didn't know, like, Jewish people, I mean, most people know this, Jewish people were made to wear the Star of David. This is a known thing. Most people know this. But did you know that that every gay person or any person that was deemed queer was made to wear an upside down pink triangle? Yes, queer people also had their own little symbol. And so basically any book that had to do with research towards trans people or any queer people was burned, was erased. And just that has sent us at least a good couple decades back on when it comes to research about trans people. And that is and like the censorship of books and just the retention of information in order to establish a certain ideology is the most immoral and most disgusting shit you could ever do.
The destruction of information is barbaric.
Yeah, because no matter like, and this is the best argument I can make. This like, oh, but like, wouldn't leftist ideologies also benefit from like censoring right wing propaganda? And I say no, because right wing
No,
propaganda is so bad that right wing propaganda proves to people how bad it is itself. Like it's just us more proof of how bad right wing
let's not
ideologies are.
mislead by censoring information. You will
Yeah, no.
never show these people what the other side looks like,
Or
and
just
so
would rather just point and laugh. Like look at how weird these people are.
whoever.
Like look how crazy they
I
are.
don't believe I'm gonna give this example. Like, think of the new Barbie movie.
Yeah, it's like damn, like what the fuck? Like there's like no, I wouldn't want to censor right wing propaganda. I can like analyze it and be like, hey, this is what this means. This is why this is wrong. This is what they're trying to do. This is how they're trying to manipulate you. And just that by itself, just by looking at right wing propaganda, I can teach more about leftist ideology than maybe a science book. Like, it's probably easier. I wouldn't say it's
Okay.
better, but
Yeah.
easier, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically that.
So it's fucking like it's one of my favorite things. And Alpha, you have attested this, and kind of doing a bit of a throwback to the beginning of the podcast when you talked about Andre Ventura, where he has like these massive billboards all over. I would say at least Lisbon. I don't know if it's all over the country, but he has
Yeah, it's all over Lisbon,
these
yeah, which is our
billboards,
capital anyway.
or billboards that say like. There needs to be a cleansing of Portugal, and it has a bunch of faces or a bunch of pictures of different politicians from different parties with a giant red X on them. And I every time I look at them, I do
They're
either
all
two
from the left.
I do either two things. Either I point my middle finger at that billboard, or I say that somebody, either the graphic design department
To
in his
against
party,
them.
forgot to put a red X over his own head, because I think
And
he
the
should,
big old dildo, by the way.
because like he's the number one person that should go. If there's anybody that should go, if there's anybody that should be expelled of this country to make it better, is only him. Everybody else can stay, just him. Just go. If you hate this country so much because of the immigrants, just you yourself go. Just go where go to like a remote island where there's no immigrants, where there's only you and you cannot bitch about it, and just leave us alone. That is the best advice I could give to that man. Is to just
Yes.
fuck off and leave us alone. But
Okay.
I wanted to circle back to something that I mean, I cut you off, so fair enough that you continued on. But I wanted to say something about how, like, about, I wouldn't say gullible people, but like people who aren't informed well enough about certain political like ideas, right? Anything that's political,
You got it, buddy.
and that they suddenly, when it comes to, for example, in our situation in Portugal right now, which is that in March we're going to go voting,
Oh fuck.
that there's a bunch of a lot of new people who are 18, newly 18, which have to vote but aren't sure who to vote for. And a close friend of mine, just today, Alpha was there,
Yeah.
started asking like the voting is coming up, and I don't know who to vote for. And basically, I gave him this amazing analogy, which Alpha was there to listen to,
Modesty.
which was it was a very basic analogy, which was that, think about this. There's two, like, think about politics in a very like duopoly, like this two-sided thing, which is not. Politics is not that simple. But think about it this way: right-wing ideologies mostly focus, which is something that actually Alpha then further clarified on, which is that right-wing ideologies focus on capital, focus on the what did you say? What was the term you used? The
Concentration of power on the
is
1% in the hopes
exactly.
it will trickle down.
Exactly. Basically, trickle down economics, but we didn't use that to him because he would be like, "What the fuck is that?" Basically, this idea that like the only thing that matters is money and and production, right? Capital. That's the only thing that matters, and that capital goes to the people who own the companies who produce that capital, and that person will distribute the money to their employers. That is the entire idea of capitalism. Then you have the left, which is, I wouldn't say literally the opposite, but is a very different thing. And the way that I explained to my friend how this works is that my personal friend, I'm not going to be doxing him here, but like my friend doesn't have the easiest financial situation when it comes to his family. And I told him, like, think about your specific situation. You have financial problems, and what would you rather have? That the government gives more money to the company that your mom works for, or give her more money directly so that she can better support your family. And he looked at me and just went, I'd rather that they pay my mom. And I'm like, there you go, done. You've solved it. You have your answer.
A little commie.
That's all you have to know. Because, and then I told him, I even did an analogy. I was like, so because the right, what they'll do is like they'll take the money, put it in their pocket, close the pocket with a little zipper, and fuck right off, and then will give you no money. Because why would they? They have no incentive to do so. There's no government telling them to do so. So why the hell would they? They don't have to. It's that simple, and that's why they don't. And that's why the U.S. is a massive shithole right now,
My homies hate the US.
and has always been a shithole. and every other country that functions under a liberal economic system. So yeah, and that's the thing is that's I actually thought of this when you were talking about how like the like Republicans agreeing on the communism. That's when I thought about this because I was saying like this is a good example of somebody who doesn't fundamentally knows nothing about politics, and that if you just explain him in very simple terms, he will most definitely agree with communism because it's very easy to agree with unless you are unless you're like unless you're a fucking sociopath which has no empathy for people, you will understand communism and you will most likely like it if you don't explain it if you explain it in a
There
way
is a
where you
reason
don't
as to why students fucking love communism.
like
It's because it makes sense.
yeah, like any person who's like an actual academics, if you're going to see a lot of them are actually like leftists, then you always have like these pseudo academics, which are usually the dumb people's definition of a smart person, is always like those like the the Jordan Petersons of our world, or the Ben Shapiro's of our world, or the Matt Walshes, basically anybody that works for the Daily Wire, is
Okay.
like people who like say they're academics, but then we have Jordan Peterson, which is like basically always like one step away from getting his fucking psychology license taken away from him because of how fucking much shit he spews. Where the like the psychology union, or I don't know what the term
Or
is like, yo, nah, don't do that. That is bad. Like
why those? First of all, those suits are horrendous. Second of all, are you high?
those suits. First of all, get a better fashion sense. Two of all, what are you doing, and why are you always crying about there's not real men? Or there's no more real men anymore.
When he has the fucking Mickey Mouse voice, it's
God,
so
no, he
good.
sounds like Kermit the Frog. I swear to God, he sounds so
Oh
much like Kermit
yeah.
the Frog. Like I've seen a video of like somebody who does a Kermit the Frog impression, like doing a whole skit of like pretending to be like Jordan Peterson. He like dressed up Kermit as Jordan Peterson, and then went like, "I am Kermit, and I." I just started saying like
Yeah.
everything that like Jordan Peterson says, but like always with like a twist
Oh,
of like
I can't
comedy.
believe I forgot about this. Okay, I have the best example. You don't know shit about this, okay?
Okay, okay.
So, this guy, okay? He's called Graham Hancock.
What? That is an amazing name.
It
I
is.
don't know who that is, but they have a legendary name.
Graham Hancock
Bro,
is fucking
Graham
great.
Hancock. God damn.
Okay, and he has a degree in sociology, right?
Okay.
Okay, and he made a series for Netflix called Ancient Apocalypse,
Okay.
which covers his thesis that is feces, which
His feces.
defends that there was a massive, global, extremely advanced in terms of technology civilization before the end of the last ice
Oh
age.
god, not sociology, not fucking Scientology again. God damn it.
It's not Scientology.
When did they create
There's a
Scientology
global
2.0?
there. It's not
God damn it.
Scientology. It's there's a
I know
global
I'm joking.
civilization before the end of the last ice age.
Glacier.
Yeah.
Got that mixed up.
So and I saw an amazing breakdown of his arguments by a channel called
You got it?
Minute Minute Man. Fuck, what a tongue twister. And the guy who was deconstructing, I can't speak today, deconstructing Graham Hancock's arguments, was an actual archaeologist, and he
Oh,
did an
that guy. I know that
amazing
guy.
breakdown. Yeah, I made you watch a bit of the video.
Yeah, he has like a sexy voice.
Yeah, he is extremely charismatic, and one of the things that he was saying is Graham Hancock was looking at this building which was basically a wall, and it was done with granite, and he was like, oh, these granite stones could not be made by simple hunter gatherers because they weigh a third of a ton, and they are cut in these extremely uh, uh, precise shapes for a simple hunter gatherers. And the guy was like, okay, first things first, it is here. So clearly they managed
Somebody
to
did it.
do it.
Yeah. It's like what?
Second things first, one third of a ton sounds really impressive. Now remember how much the blocks of the Pyramid of Giza weight.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you the information. About 30 fucking tons.
yeah,
And now remember that granite is a volcanic stone, which breaks with a specific fractal pattern. So they were not chiseled out; they were already broken into these forms.
yeah,
But
and like
because he presented the information as something which was inherently contradictory, you were presented with a predisposition to believe that it was impossible and could simple hunter gatherers couldn't do this.
why? Do you have proof of why they couldn't?
I mean,
Because
simple
I
the
don't
idea that
think it
that,
could.
that idea of simple hunter gatherers is so stupid because people have always been as smart as they are now. They
Yeah,
weren't simple hunter gatherers. They were humans with tools that were more primitive. That's basically it.
yeah, and it's funny
We
because
are the
like
same species, man.
I saw somebody, I don't remember who it was. I heard somebody say this a couple of days ago, which was like, just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that the entire civilization doesn't, you dumb fuck. Like some shit like that. Just because you don't
Oh, that
comprehend
is
this,
great.
just because you don't comprehend this simple thing, that does not mean that that reflects the entire opinion of the entire world, or that that proves that you are right. Just because you don't understand something, just because you can't fathom that something like this could have happened, does not mean that that thing didn't happen. It just means that you are dumb.
I couldn't build the pyramids of Giza, therefore,
Yeah,
neither could they. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
pyramids are impossible to build right now.
like I
Just ignore the Louvre and the Bass shop.
I have a bunch of friends. I don't think any of my friends could have built the pyramid of Giza. It's like, bro, are you
We
shitting
also
me?
don't have slaves,
Like,
I
bitch,
think.
what are you talking about? Like, the
Slaves?
hell? Yeah, no shit, you could have not built it, but like, you are not them, and they are not you. We have completely different living situations. You have never in your life have they planted the idea that you're gonna build a fucking pyramid in your fucking
You are not
in your
an
head.
engineer.
And
You are socially stable.
even if you were a fucking slave, like if you had to, you would build the fucking pyramid because you didn't have a choice. You
It was either
dumb
that or the
baboon.
fucking whip.
God,
He had a great skit, but it was
and baboons are pretty
like
cool.
the slaver was like, "Alright, guys, what now?" And the slave was just like, "I don't know. I'm just a simple hunter gatherer."
It's like, God damn it, like people are, damn it, like
Yeah, I
stop,
fucking love that channel.
stop trying to prove your ignorance with more of your ignorance. Like, God,
I
please.
saw a skit of a podcast where a guy was screaming at the other guy because the first guy said that fishes were animals, and the other guy was saying fishes aren't animals. And then they started talking. It's basically like, okay, is a lizard an animal? No, it's a reptile. Okay, what is an animal? It's a mammal. So are humans animals? Are you calling me an animal? And I was just like, oh my fucking god, I'm losing
Like,
neurons.
yes, yes, humans are animals. Honestly, I don't even know what the definition of an animal is, but like to me, animals,
I'm gonna give you right now.
I don't care. Like to me, it's like you have mammals, you have avian
An animal
species.
is a living organism that feeds on organic matter,
Oh, it's just
typically having specialized sense organs and a nervous system, and is able to respond rapidly to stimuli.
so it's like, are you a single cell organism? No, you're an animal. It's like, is it like that
I
basically?
mean, it can be a plant with more than one cell, so that's you gotta have a
Basically,
specific set of conditions.
so wait, anything that's like, yeah, I don't, it doesn't fucking matter. I don't care. Like, but
Yes, a fish is an animal. You dumb fuck.
yeah, like if I'd say fish are animals, mammals, avians, reptiles, amphibians, uh,
There are more.
invertebrates,
There are always more
arachnids, whatever the fuck
insect.
scorpions are, things with exoskeletons. Why do we have so many crabs?
Uh,
Why does evolution keep creating crabs? What's up with crabs?
Crabs are the perfect life form.
Yeah, you know about that, right? Like you know about that.
I
Like
do. I do. Don't worry.
it's like the
I asked
only
my teacher about it.
it's the only conspiracy theory that I believe in, is that crabs are the perfect life form, and that secretly speaking, the universe keeps trying to evolve us all into crabs, and that one day we'll be a bunch of crab people. That is the
That
only.
is
That is my
so
religion.
stupid yet so funny.
It's my religion.
Ah, yes,
Crabism,
crabology.
crabology, and I think that getting crabs, and as in a sexually transmitted disease, is the first step into getting. into turning into a crab. So if you
First step, get an STD.
first step, get an
Second step,
STD,
crab.
not don't die. Step 3, evolve into crab, and you're done. Perfect life form.
Step 4, profit.
Step 4, live happy life.
This is why politics has
Step
failed us.
5,
We are not
wake up from
crabs.
insane asylum. What?
This is why politics has failed us. We are not crabs.
Yeah, like politics, like right wing politics has failed us all because they're not crabs. Left wing people are a bunch of crabs. We have a bunch of
That is the movie that I want to watch. It's not Sound of Freedom. It's Sound of the Crustaceans.
sound of crustaceans, the crustacean sound. It's a
Yeah,
bunch
you're
of.
gonna just go to Democratic like
Have you
politician.
heard of
It's a
crab
meat
rave?
suit,
That is our
crabs.
anthem. Crab rave is our national anthem of the crab people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crab people. The United Nations of the crab people. That is what politics.
United Nations of Crab.
A crab. Bro, the fuck just happened?
UNC.
The UNC. The fuck? Oh god.
the
You know
Caribbean
you know the
Crustacean
UFC. You know the UFC. You know what it actually stands for?
No.
The United Forces of Crab.
Oh my God.
God, it's a whole conspiracy. We're a bunch of
UNC.
crabs.
UCU.
Oh god,
East Crustacean Union.
the Crustacean Union. Hell yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh god. And you know what ACAB means?
I don't think I want to know.
All crabs are powerful. Hey, I got it at the end. I
A
don't know.
cap or a cap?
That's all ACAB. It's ACAB. You're right. Wait,
All
so
crabs are
or
beautiful.
beautiful, which definitely does not stand for all cops are bastards.
I
Uh,
got it. I like the all cops are bad more than bastards.
yeah. No, but bastards, they are.
I was with the car of a friend of mine the other day, and his mom had come to pick us up because
Oh yeah, that story. God, off it.
yeah, and we were talking about the police.
The
And I was like, yeah, I don't
police.
like the police. And then he turned to me and said, my dad is a police officer. He's a sergeant. And I was just like, respects to your dad. Knowing you, he's probably a good man and a good police officer. I still don't like the police.
It's like you're like, well, I'm fucked. It's like I'm gonna
Yeah, I
go
had to do a quick 180. I still believe what I told him,
going to
but
jail.
I do not like the police.
10 minutes later, Grandma, go pick me up.
You ever heard of bail?
I ever heard of bail? It's like what happened? I might or not have just insulted a police officer in the fucking face.
Sergeant.
Yeah, this is even worse. I have currently the whole police force
My
against me.
rectal cavity is the size of a baton.
Jesus, cool. Whoa, yo, damn, that's crazy. That's
I,
tough.
I did a whole 180.
Yeah, I mean, we should actually. I'm surprised we've never written, or we have not yet written a
I think
article
we need a little more experience before we do that because we got to
about
separate the like cops in Portugal and cops in the United States, which is most of the cops that we talk about, because
No, just we could just do an article about the general concept of like um
cop.
about cops and like the idea that like I mean mostly in the US cops have just like they were basically like sheriffs, right? Like the entire idea of sheriffs and like their police system was entirely
Why they're so bad?
designed around people about a group of people enforcing slavery. That was
You
their
know why
whole.
cops are so bad? Because cop actually means crab over people, and that is how we're gonna end the fucking episode. 'Cause it's been
That
so
was a
long.
large stretch. Holy shit, Alpha.
Crabs
Uh,
over people. Yeah.
Crowds are people
Okay.
fucking hell.
So
God
thank you
damn.
very much for listening. We are tired as shit.
Yeah, and we have lots of Cyberpunk to play because I knew
I
what
am
they came out.
high on tiredness.
And I would like to add something interesting. So if you're watching this on the day that this comes out, which is to us tomorrow, the 6th of December, I would like to let you know that in exactly a week is my birthday, so that's cool.
Write that down. Write that down.
Write that down. So next episode, on the day that the block comes out, I better receive at least one happy birthday message. That's right. Yeah.
Don't worry, you got a Discord
I
bot.
have demands.
You got
I
the Discord bot. You know the Discord bot was the first to wish me happy birthday.
Yeah, last year, like me,
Oh, this year.
if you only know me and Alpha through Politdigm, you wouldn't know that me and Alpha used to be part of this group called Team 76, and we had a Discord server. We still technically do; it's still there. It's just that it's inactive. And we had like a in the announcement server chat thing, we had like a bot which would like be our announcement bot, and it like always tell said happy birthday to everybody. And last was it this summer or was it last year?
This summer, it was
This summer.
so fucking
This summer was
depressing.
the first person in the entire day that said. Which, by the way, I think it sent like the happy birthday message at like 10 a.m. So like at
Yeah.
10 a.m. somehow it was still the first person that said happy birthday to you.
Besides my family,
I was
and I
like,
mean close family.
oh boy, it's a good start to the to this fucking age. God
Yeah,
damn.
I felt like a vibration on my phone. And thought, "Yo, happy birthday message." I read, "Happy birthday." Yo, I was about to respond, and then
Oh,
bot,
it's a
and I just left.
bot. Oh,
I thought it was
shit.
you actually because I saw the Discord icon. Then I thought, nah, Red isn't awake right now.
Yeah, I probably wasn't. I mean,
No,
what the fuck?
you were asleep.
No, I was on my internship, I think.
Yeah,
So
probably.
I was probably working.
You
But
have excuse. Yeah,
yeah, but that's pretty fucked. That's pretty funny. I mean, we don't actually have that on in the Polytime Discord server. This now. I could add that, but I don't think it matters too much. But
yeah.
yeah. Anyways, if you liked
Blog.
our if you
Not
liked our
blog. Fucking.
rambles, if you liked our rambles, make sure to support us over at Patreon. As I said before, and speaking of the Discord is open. Anybody can join. But if you join and support us over at Patreon, you can submit questions at the Q&A chat, which we will try to answer at the end
We
of
do
each
not have
episode,
one.
which is right now or would be right now if we did have a question. So,
Also, as of now, we offer red feet pics to those that are in.
whoa, whoa,
This
that is a crazy, that is slander. I will be suing you for defamation. And this is a double whammy because not only is that an insane thing to say, I hate feet. I have what's it called? Podophobia, which is like the phobia of feet. I literally will vomit if a
pause.
foot is too close to me. I fucking hate feet with a passion. So the fact that you just said that is such a fucking, how dare you, Alpha? How could you do this to me?
I didn't know you hate feet that much.
I hate feet so much, bro. I can barely stand being like, even with
I can
socks, I hate
stand
feet.
feet. I don't like feet. Like if someone gets weird with feet, I just get weird. Period.
Why do you think I'm always wearing socks? It can be summer.
That's
I
not
could
how it works. I also wear socks on
no,
my
but
feet.
I hate I hate everybody's feet, including
Imagine
mine.
going to
Fuck
feet
feet,
first,
bro.
like
Jesus
your feet
Christ.
go. "Ugh."
Feet are just mangled hands, and you can't change my mind. Anyway,
Technically, yes.
yeah, just misshaped, evolved hands that don't do their work, their job good.
By the way, I just opened YouTube, and the first thing that came up to me was "Gay Frogs," Alex Jones remix. I
Oh,
fucking love the internet.
God damn it. They make the fucking frogs gay. The chemicals make the frogs gay. Anyways,
Fucking
thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you
yeah.
next week. And I'm waiting for the birthday wishes.
Goodbye.
I will be on my phone waiting for hours for the comments. If I don't get a single comment, I am going to kill somebody, and I'm going to start with Alpha. He's my first hostage.
Of course I am. But then who would write the blog for next week?
It's like nobody comments on purpose, so you die. It'd be cool. Well, anyways, goodbye everybody. Bye.
Wait.